Welcome to The Truth. I'm Chris Turner, and today I'll be bringing you the truth about fear. I've got three of my friends with me. That's Taylor, Harmony, and Jules, and we're going to be talking about fear and some of the fears that they have. So, Harmony, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, my name is Harmony. I'm in 7th grade, and I live about an hour from here, and I like to play tennis.
What about you, Jules?
I'm 15 years old. I used to live in Arizona. I just moved here to Atlanta. I go to the International City School of Ballet, and that's pretty much it.
How about you, Taylor?
Well, I'm 17. I'm a senior in high school. Harmony's my sister, and I do rock climbing. So, yeah.
So what are some things that you fear?
I fear not fulfilling the purpose that God has for me.
What about all of you? Harmony?
Like failing in life. Like, I feel like if I have to turn to someone to, if I can't do it on my own, and like, yeah, just like not being able to, I don't know.
You know? How about you, Taylor?
I kind of agree with Harmony on that. Just, looking toward the future is often very terrifying, is in the grand scheme of things. You have to wonder, am I really that important? And just, looking at yourself and kind of fearing if you're small, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So are you afraid of the future, any of you? Like what you're going to do later on in life?
Yeah, definitely.
Very.
Yeah.
You said you play tennis and you dance and you rock climb. Are you afraid of the competition? What, you're going to mess up or something?
The competition in dance is very, very hard. Sometimes it's even hard to comprehend what you're supposed to do because it's so hard to accomplish what your teachers and the people out, like even the judges want you to do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's very mental in tennis. Like, in everything, you have to not quit. Like, if you quit, then you're just done. So you have to really keep pushing. And,
Yeah, I'm not as afraid of the competition as I am falling and dying. So,
Yeah. Don't they hold the ropes for you over there or something?
Yeah, but I've seen a girl's rope fall off when she's 60 feet up. So
What happened? Did she hurt herself?
No, she was fine.
Oh,
but,
okay.
Well, everybody knows that baseball's a lot harder than dance and stuff
Wow,
like that.
Chris, where I got you.
Okay.
So, yeah. Yeah, what about, have you ever been hurt while you were dancing?
Yeah, I was overstretching, I was over pushing myself, and I ripped all the muscle in the inside of my leg and in my knee
That sounds
because
bad.
I overstretched. My teacher was pretty mad at me though.
Your teacher was mad at you for hurting yourself?
Yeah.
Trying too
Why
hard?
would you
Maybe
do
should
that?
not
Because
try
we had a
second time.
competition after that.
Ooh,
And
yeah.
so I couldn't dance. It was like my whole leg was swollen.
So you were trying too hard and your teacher got mad at you?
Yeah.
All right, so maybe you just shouldn't try and your teacher wouldn't get mad at you. Yeah.
yeah. I did have an injury, but it was outside of tennis. It made me stop playing tennis for a bit, but yeah.
Did you slow down? Was it hard to jump back in with the competition?
Half and half. It was like, I mean, I could go back, but it just took a while to get my groove back, I guess.
Get your groove back. I don't think I've ever had an injury with climbing. I mean, I pull muscles all the time and stuff like that, and I get knots in my back and shoulders. And
Yeah, those
but
don't
I
feel
mean,
good.
other than that, no broken bones yet.
So when you did that, were you able to push through with the injury, or no, you had to stop?
My teacher actually told me that I couldn't come to dance because I wouldn't stop dancing.
You wouldn't
So-
stop
No,
dancing?
I wouldn't. She was like, you have to quit pushing yourself. I understand what you want, but you can't come to dance anymore because I can't make you quit dancing.
So you had to rough it on the couch lying at home watching
Yes.
movies?
Well, it was pretty nice, but I felt lazy.
Yeah. What about you?
Yeah, well, I was in a cast for 3 weeks and then a boot for 3 weeks, but I just had to do physical therapy and it didn't take too long to get back.
Oh, well, you could have cut that time in half if you actually did the exercises you were supposed to do.
Oh.
You didn't do the exercises you were supposed to do?
Harmony.
Well, sometimes.
You enjoyed having a boot on, just like getting all the attention or something?
No.
Getting all the cute boys to sign it.
Oh my gosh. You don't sign a boot, you sign a cast. Just so you know.
I mean, you could.
Can you sign the stamps for me, please?
Who's James?
So what are some real world fears that you fear? Anything in the real world? Or something silly like pets?
I don't really. I fear my siblings sometimes because they can be very mean.
You
Like,
fear your siblings?
yes.
And they're all younger than
Yeah.
you.
And they're all younger than me.
They all like tackle you and they take over you?
Yes.
They control
Like,
you?
they hang me from the fan sometimes and turn it on. And
Wow.
let it
That
go.
sounds interesting. I don't know how they do that.
Yeah, I'm definitely scared of snakes. I hate snakes.
You hate snakes?
I hate snakes.
You hate snakes? Well, some people hate dogs, so this might be a horror movie for them. But he's
Yeah,
giving
like
us a nice
we
angle
were
right
at Jules's house not too long ago, and I heard something move in the bushes, and she was like, "Yeah, we have snakes around here." Oh my
She
god!
jumped like a rabbit. She was like,
She was
I was
gone.
like, it's okay, it's okay. She's like, no, it's not.
Yeah.
I mean, I kind of fear a lot, you know, for my friends and stuff like that, like friends and just people you care about in general. Like I like something happening to them. It's always like, you know, if they're going on a trip or something, or even myself, you know, because I don't want them to fear about me. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So it's just worrying about other, you know, your friends and
Yeah.
people you care about, not wanting
Family.
anything to happen to them.
So you were afraid of snakes, and what did you say you were afraid of?
My siblings.
Your siblings? So if I threw a snake at you, would you freak out?
Probably, yeah.
What would you do, run?
Yeah, I just run.
What if it was
Run for the
fake,
hills.
though?
Well, funny, we have
Well,
Bindi
then
Irwin here
I'd
with
be
us.
like, seriously?
What are some real world fears, though? Like real things?
I fear losing my parents a lot because if I lose my parents, then I love my biological father. If any of you don't know, my biological father left me when I was 4, me and my mom got remarried. But my dad now, he means so much to me, and I don't think I can explain that so much to him. But I fear losing them because if I lost them, I'd have to go back to something that I don't want to go back to. So.
Yeah. Yeah, like even losing one of my parents would just be devastating because it's hard because my dad's at work all the time, so my mom has to take care of us. And then if my dad died, then my mom would have to work, and it's just really hard.
Yeah, supporting 4 kids by yourself is not an easy task.
Yeah. If you didn't know, we have 2 other siblings.
Yes.
So what do you do to get over that fear? Do you get over it, or is it still with you?
It's still with me. Like, it's very hard to get over it, but I always constantly think that Jesus is with them, and that if it's his time for them to go, then it's his plan. Like, I can't stop that. So I kind of get over it that way.
Yeah, I mean, it is a thought popping into my head sometimes, but like it's not always in my head. And yeah, if I know like God would make it so that it wasn't such a hard scenario. So.
Right. I agree with what Jules said. You know, it's like he's not going to ever give us anything that we can't overcome. So I know that no matter what happens, you know, we can get through it.
Yeah.
I think you can always show that by, because we've had a death in our family and we were really close, but I think you always have to take your time with the person you love. Like, don't rush it in any type of way. Like, love them as hard as you possibly can. And that's the best way you can overcome it.
So many people watching this probably have parents going through divorces or sicknesses. So what do you feel when that happened? What were you?
When my
emotions?
parents split,
Yeah.
well, I was very young. I know I went through, my mom got really sick, so we had to move to Arizona. And I went through a moment of hating her because I was so upset with my dad. And I didn't realize, because I was so upset with him that he left us, that I was taking it out on her, and I did it for years. And I see now that it should have been taken out on my dad, but even though you're not supposed to, like through Christ, you're supposed to get over that. But I don't know, it's kind of all mental when you go through something like that with your parents. It's very depressing. Like, I had a lot of depressing moments. But
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, like
How'd you get over it? Did it just dissolve away after time?
it's still,
Still there?
yeah.
Yeah.
Like, it's gone. It's kind of decreased a little bit, but it's still there.
like even when like our parents come home after a day and they're like fighting, like sometimes they have like some pretty big fights, and it's just like scary to think about what's gonna happen next. So
Yeah, because you never want, as much as you don't want the worst to happen, your mind kind of automatically assumes like the worst is going to happen. So it's a hard thing to kind of, you have to stop focusing on that, but it's hard to do.
yeah.
What about sicknesses? Has anybody in your family ever been extremely sick?
Yeah, my little brother has, both of my little brothers have sickle cell. And it's very hard to watch your parents go through that because you know that they're devastated. Sickle cell is very bad. Like any moment they could die. And my brother has had 12 strokes. And even for a little boy, because he's only 8 years old, that's a lot. And they said that he would never be able to walk, he'd never be able to talk, and other multiple things, but he's doing all of what they said that he couldn't do. And I think it's still going on today. I mean, he has tons of doctor's appointments, but I mean, it's hard, but we all stick together as a family and we get through it.
Yeah. My grandma, she got diagnosed with cancer like a while ago, but she went on this like diet, yeah.
Yeah, fast metabolism diet, yeah.
But and she lost a ton of weight, and she's completely better now. But it was kind of scary at first, you know, when she went to the doctor, and you're like, whoa, okay, that's happening.
Yeah, and like it's weird because she looks so much younger now than she did then.
Yeah.
So.
Does it affect you in any way, your family or your friends or what you do?
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
definitely.
It does. Yeah.
Because it affects your whole outlook on life, you know.
Yeah.
And when, you know, say something, the worst does happen, like if someone does die from it, you know, you realize how fragile life is, and then you can't really go back to how things were, I guess.
Yeah.
It's not, life isn't something to waste, it's precious, it's very
Yeah.
precious.
Exactly.
And you regret like if you were like arguing with them or something, you're just like, why couldn't I have just gotten over it?
Yeah.
Mm.
Like, I know all siblings fight, I mean, it's normal, but like, to have a sibling who has a disease, you have to be careful with what you do because it can end at any moment. And you should always come back together, especially if they can die at any moment.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Be really hard.
Yeah, I would be devastated.
Yeah, the Bible says better to go to a funeral than a party because it gives you a sense of not everybody stays there forever.
Yeah.
But when you, do you get mad at God sometimes why he doesn't heal you? Cause
Yeah, I do. I was just diagnosed bulimic, but for my parents, it was very hard for them to know that their daughter was bulimic. But I think I was so upset with God and what he did in my life that he didn't fix it for me, that I was taking it out on me, and that God says that our body's a temple, and I wasn't doing that correctly. But I guess that was one of my angers, as I was destroying something that was his.
Thanks for sharing that, because so many people out there might be feeling the same way with a different situation, but they have the same emotions and the same feelings attached. But we have to stand on the Word of God, because Romans 8:28 says, He will work all things out for your good. And Matthew 19:26 says, with God all things are possible. So if you love Him, then He will work all things out for your good, to those who He loves. Do you get mad or depressed, or what happens with that, with your brother or your grandma when she got sick? Or do you just...
I mean, definitely, you get that feeling like, well, why them? You know, like,
Yeah.
what'd they do to deserve that? So, you know, in a way, you get mad at God, but it's definitely not, he's not the one to blame for it. So, but yeah, definitely. You
Yeah,
definitely
I
blame God
agree.
all the time.
It's just like, why can't you take me instead? Like, it has to be them. Like,
Yeah.
Like, you see them going through so much pain, you kind of ask why. Like, if you're God, why would you put them put them through that much pain? Like, why is that necessary?
yeah.
It's like that, like, really old kind of like philosophical dilemma. It's like, well, either God doesn't have power, or he does and he just chooses not to use it, kind of thing. So, which neither is true, but still, you know, when you're in that kind of situation, you can't help but think that way.
It's just really hard to see someone going through so much pain.
I think some recent stuff, you kind of feel like a rag doll, like God's just like, oh, I'm gonna play with you.
Yeah.
But I always come back and I pray to Him, and you kind of realize that what you think is kind of wrong. And I feel guilty sometimes. Like I told my mom, she was like, wow, I never knew you felt that way. But it's hard to get over stuff like that.
Mm.
Does the devil ever try to get inside your minds or something, speak false things?
Oh yeah,
All the
all the time.
All the time. Yeah. I think that He'll try to, like I said, I'm very scared that I won't fulfill God's purpose for me. And I think that He's the main one who will try to get in there and deceive you not to fulfill that purpose. That's the only way you wouldn't fulfill it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he gives you those thoughts, and it's really hard to make them go away, but
Yeah. You know, it's, to me especially, I know it's like you get this feeling of like worthlessness, and I struggle a lot with like acceptance and just, you know, when you get that in your head, you kind of start thinking, you know, these people, like, they care about you a lot, but you start thinking, oh, what if they don't? Like, what if it's all just a front and they actually hate me? But you have to definitely not focus on that if you can, but it's very difficult, you know, not to. But yeah, definitely those thoughts get put into your head all the time.
yeah, like there are so many people in like public school and stuff that like they're trying to be accepted, and it's just you think like what if I'm not good enough, and it just a lot of time leads to depression, and
Yeah.
we all know that's not good. So
I think being accepted is a big issue with teens nowadays, because if they're not accepted, then they feel like they almost don't have a purpose in this world.
Yeah.
yeah.
If you don't get enough likes on Instagram, then you
Yeah,
go
like,
into
seriously.
and then you go into a depression.
They
You eat a bunch of chocolate.
And then they get really fat, and I'm like, you didn't need to do that.
Yeah.
It's also like, you know, everyone feels like they need to fit into a specific group, like not necessarily one in particular, but they need to belong. Like
yeah,
it's
just
just
somewhere.
yeah.
Like you have to have a claim over something. Like you have to have
Yeah.
a title, and you don't. Your title is Jesus. That's the only title
Yeah.
you need.
Yeah.
Have you ever walked into a bad situation because you were just so desperate for friends that maybe you tried to get a friend and it turned out bad?
Plenty of times. Plenty of times. Yeah.
Did you do it again, or did you learn your lesson?
No, I did it again.
Yeah, I've done it more than once.
Do you still do it, or did you learn?
No, I've gotten better, I think.
I just try to stay
hope.
away from friends.
Stay away from friends.
Guys, thanks for sharing about fear. I went out to the street to ask some people about what they thought about fear. Check it out.
Hello from Atlanta, Georgia. I came out to the public to get a couple people to interview to see what they think about the word fear. What do you think of when I tell you the word fear?
Snakes.
Snakes.
Snakes. Spiders. I don't like spiders.
Spiders.
Spiders?
Like the one right there?
No.
No? Oh. You
Do that to me.
No? Alright.
When I was younger, I feared my mom.
Clowns. Monster. Tigers. Rapist.
So what comes to mind when I tell you the word fear?
Fear God.
God.
So would you say you have the fear of God? Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Give me securely found. Give me the one my soul delights in. Give me the one in whom my hope is securely found. Give me the one my soul delights in. Give me the one in whom my hope is securely, securely found. Securely found. Securely found. Securely found in you. Give me Jesus. Give me Jesus. You can have all of this world, but give me Jesus. Give me Jesus. Give me Jesus. You can have all this world, but give me Jesus. You can have all this world, but give me Jesus.
Fear is a huge issue in so many people's lives. John 8:32 says, "You will know the truth, and that truth will set you free." The truth is, fear sees what the devil sees, faith sees what God sees. Fear activates the devil, and faith activates God. The truth is found in 2 Timothy 1:7, which says, "God did not give us a spirit of fear, but of love, power, and a sound mind." So that tells us that fear is a spirit. So when we believe that Jesus Christ is the Son of God, then we can command that spirit to go, and it must go. I want to tell you about a man of the Bible. His name was Jairus. He was a leader in the synagogue. He had to overcome his fear and believe Jesus. His story can be found in the book of Mark, chapter 5, verses 22 through 24, and verses 35 through 43. Now we see Jairus comes and falls at the feet of Jesus. Right there we get a clue that if we need a miracle in our life, we must come and fall at the feet of Jesus. In Luke 4:18, Isaiah 61, 1 through 2, and in Acts 10, verse 38, in all the places it says, Jesus came to the earth to proclaim the good news. He went around doing good, healing the sick, and setting free those oppressed of the devil. And in Hebrews 13:8 says, Jesus Christ is the same God yesterday, today, and forever. So the same Jesus Christ is proclaiming freedom from your fear through me. Now we see in Mark chapter 5, verse 23, that Jairus begged Jesus earnestly, so we also have to pray an earnest prayer of faith. James 5:15 says, pray the prayer of faith and God will answer you. Jairus says to Jesus, my daughter is sick and at the point of death. Come lay your hand on her that she may be healed and live. Right there we get a clue that if we need a miracle in our life, Jesus will come and lay his hand on you. Whatever you need today, even freedom from your fear, he will set you free and do the miracle for you. Isaiah 59:2 says, his arm is not too short to save. So the hand of the Lord is the Spirit of the Lord, and the Spirit of the Lord is here. Jesus Christ is the living God. He will heal you and set you free. Now we see while Jesus is still speaking, someone comes from Jairus' house and says to him, your daughter is dead. Why trouble the good teacher anymore? But in Psalm 112, verse 6 through 7, King David says, when the bad news comes, I do not fear. I put my trust in God. This is when Jesus heard what was spoken to Jairus, and he says in Mark chapter 5, verse 36, fear not, only believe. Isaiah 53:1 says, whose report do you believe? We can't believe the world's report. The world's report looks the opposite of what we want. It looks hopeless. There's no hope in it whatsoever. We have to believe the report of Jesus Christ, and the report of Jesus is that We are made in His image, and that we serve a purpose, and that there is hope in His name, because Jesus Christ has overcome the world, so we can too. This is the time when Jesus arrived at Jairus' house. And when He arrived, all the people were crying and weeping. But the good news is, in John 16:20, God will turn your sorrow into joy. So Jesus says in Mark chapter 5, verse 39, "Why all the commotion? For this child isn't dead, but sleeping." But the people all laughed at Him, and they ridiculed Him. So Jesus then took 3 of His disciples and the father and mother into the room, and He took the little girl by the hand. And in Mark chapter 5, verse 41, He said, "Talitha kume," which means, "Little girl, I say to you, arise." Isaiah 60, verse 1 says, He wants us to arise and shine. Romans 8:11 says, the same Spirit that raised Jesus Christ from death to life will raise up our body. So this girl then got up and started walking around from the bed, and all the people were amazed. So the same Jesus Christ will do this for you. He's not a respecter of persons. What He did for one person, He will do for you, Romans 2:11. Expect great things. Expect the miracle. What God says, I say unto you, fear not, only believe. I'm Chris Turner. Thank you for joining us. Won't you come back next week? I'm bringing you the truth.
I want to know the truth. Won't you show me the way? I want to know you. I want to know the